Question 4. Question 4 is dedicated to my mother. Her name is Sally, and she loves golf. So I wrote this question about her. It gives you a scatter plot. So on a scatter plot, what's important to know is that the dots are the actual data, and the line is the predicted value. So when it says here, what's the difference between Sally's actual number of strokes in year 4? This right here is your actual. And the predicted value, this is your predicted. And then we do have to eyeball this to try and to get the value that is the difference between these two dots as close as possible. What I always do on the SAT is I write on my test book, like I make a horizontal line as close to horizontal as I possibly can, just to be as accurate as I can when I'm trying to be really careful with my horizontal lines here. Hey, when you're taking the SAT, you can actually use your bubble sheet, the like top edge of your bubble sheet as a ruler to make these really good. I don't have a ruler, maybe I should get one here. It looks to me though like the actual value was somewhere around 105. And the predicted value is a little bit higher than 95, I'll say 96. And the difference is if we subtract those two numbers, 105 minus 96, that is 9. Okay. If you're not exactly right when you eyeball it, it should be okay. If I had gotten 10 there, I still would have selected 9, knowing that I kind of had to estimate just a little bit. All right, and here's our last question for the pretest. This is about taking a random sample for a survey. So any question you see about a survey, you should approach in the way that I'm looking at this question. What's important is that, first of all, every member of the population has a chance to become a member of the sample. We don't need every member of the school to fill out that survey, but we need them all to possibly have been selected to have filled out the survey. If we leave out any group because they didn't volunteer, or they didn't have an opinion on that matter, or they didn't go to school that day, well, then we don't really have a sample that fully represents the population. So we need to make sure that we don't leave any type of student out of the selection process for this sample. And secondly, when we select the people for the sample, we have to find a way to select it randomly. So let's look at the ways that it might not be random. First of all, if you see an alphabetical list, that might be okay if we were to somehow mix it all up, but we didn't. We said the first 50 on that list. Well, that's not random. Those are the people who start with A. I don't know if people whose last names start with the first few letters of the alphabet have a different personality than other people, but still it's not random, and I'm not going to select this answer. Here, I see the word volunteer. It's really important when you see volunteer that you know there's nothing random about volunteers. It's been shown in statistics that people who volunteer to fill out surveys usually have very strong opinions. They have a reason for filling out that survey. So you're going to get a biased sample. You're not going to get what most people think. You're only going to get what the most extreme people think when you get volunteers. And you'll see that all the time in real life. People will ask you to volunteer to fill out a survey. Know that the information being gathered is not going to be awesome information, because it's going to start off as bias. They know that going in, but they were a little bit lazy about how they got their information, and that is going to give them biased information. So anyway, when you see the word volunteers, cross that off. That is not going to be a random sample. And once again, in C, we see volunteer. We're going to cross that off for the same reason. I'm pretty sure D is the answer, but let's read it and make sure we like it. Well, I see here that we have a numbered list of all juniors. That's kind of like an alphabetical list. That's just fine. As long as what we pick is a random sample instead of just the first 50, right? So everybody in the junior class had a chance of being selected, and those who were selected were done so randomly. D is the perfect answer here.